Oh, hey everybody. Rufo coming at you on location tonight. I thought it'd be fun to come over to one of my favorite pizza places for the Big Pizza Show. I'm at Dom's New York Style Pizza in Newport, Delaware. Great place, legit. They sponsor our girls volleyball team, summer league. Love these guys. Um, let's open up with a little bit of the history of pizza, then I'll give you my take on the pie. All right. So pizza, American favorite now, right? Legend has it starts June 11th, 1889, in Naples, a place called Porta Alba in Naples, and a baker named Esposito made a special pie for the king and queen, King Umberto and Queen Margherita, and it had basil, mozzarella, tomatoes, to signify the Italian flag, green, white, and red. And of course, a margherita pizza today at many places when you order probably looks just like that original from 1889. So, along with millions of Italian immigrants that came to America, they brought their culinary traditions. Pizza came along. So, we have pizza, obviously New York, right? New York is going to be the epicenter of pizza in America. And so 1905, Gennaro Lombardi gets credit for having the first pizza place. He puts in for a license with the city to sell pizza from his grocery store on Spring Street in Lower Manhattan. And so 1905 is the beginning. He had many employees that over the years broke away and started their own places. I'll give you a couple. We've got 1924, Anthony Trotano Pero, a former employee at Lombardi's place. He opens up his place in Brooklyn on Neptune Avenue. 1924, we got 1929, John Sasso opens up his place on Bleecker Street in Greenwich Village. Long Island gets its pizza place 1931 near Hyde Park, New Hyde Park, a place called Eddie's Pizza. Patsy's, 1933, a guy named Patsy Lancieri. He goes uptown, Spanish Harlem. And so pizza starts to breach out of the Manhattan, the boroughs in New York. Frank Pepe brings it up to New Haven, Connecticut, and that happens in 1925. Boston gets pizza in 1933. Saritopos is a place. San Francisco, 1935, on the West Coast, a place called Tommaso's. So, in the early days of pizza, the 1920s and 30s, East Coast thing, I find even today, the further you get away from the New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Northeast region, you get away from the more of the traditional pizzas. Chicago, and of course we have Chicago style. Chicago, first pizzeria, 1943, Pizzeria Uno, still around. And of course Chicago with the thick, the deep dish they call it. So we'll talk more about that in a couple minutes. So that's a little bit on the history of pizza. You know, pizza really, up until the 1960s, was a neighborhood affair. You had a place, you had a corner place, people went to places near them. In the 1960s, we have the rise of the great chains. And so we have Pizza Hut, 1958, out of Kansas. Little Caesars and Domino's, both out of Michigan. Little Caesars, 1959, Domino, 1960. Papa John's, much later to the game, 1989. So these chains, the big boys, if you will, they kind of changed the face of the pizza world. And it's in the late 1950s that the industry begins to grow around pizza. You've got companies like Baker's Pride and Blodgett creating these specially designed ovens for pizzas. Hobart starts creating large mixers that people can put in these pizza kitchens. And so the 50s, the 60s, the early 70s, you have a great rise of pizza. Pizza starts to spread all over the country. What you have then is a lot of people talk about pizza in the pre-delivery, post-delivery era, like we have in history, AD, BC, pre-delivery, post-delivery. So before delivery, again, it was a neighborhood affair. Starting in the late 70s, the concept of delivering pizza kind of gets started, and that's where the chains also, Domino's, for instance, also takes off and starts to spread. And in the 80s, you start to have a lot of closure of the mom and pop, the neighborhood stores. I liken it to what you have in certain retail today with the big box stores. We used to have neighborhood hardware stores. Now we have Home Depots and Lowe's. We used to have neighborhood pharmacies. Now everything's a Walgreens. And that kind of happened in the pizza world too, where a lot of things went away because the chains kind of swallowed up everything. I think we're seeing a resurgence now of the neighborhood store, so that's kind of nice. A little bit about the thing. First of all, it's a slice. When you go to get pizza, it's a slice of pizza. I don't say piece of pizza. You get a piece of cake, you get a piece of candy. Right? Pizza's a slice. Also, there's a little bit of debate between, again, thick, the Chicago style, or the thin. Now, I like my pizza razor thin, like a sheet of paper, like loose leaf. Okay, some people like a nice thick slice, piece of pizza. Generally, pizza's round, square. You can get a square. We call that Sicilian down here in Delaware. And that's usually a little bit of a thicker slice. So a little bit on that type of thing. Traditionally, you got your tomato sauce and your cheese. Pepperoni, #1 topping in the United States, still today. I generally order my pizzas plain. And that's what you say. You go up, give me a slice, plain. That's just a slice with no frills. That's how I like it generally. However, a lot of places, they try some new things, and some of it's very good. I remember when the Hawaiian pizza, ham and pineapple, first came out in the 80s. A lot of people were freaked out by that. Today, you've got people putting barbecue chicken on pizza. You've got all kinds of things. And Dom was hooking me up with a slice here I'm going to share with you before we say goodbye. Looks beautiful. But traditionally, a plain slice is what I'll normally get 90% of the time. Let me tell you a little background on why I know pizza. Okay, my family has been involved in pizza for a long time. My grandfather's brother, Costanzo Pesci, opened one of the first pizza shops in Wilmington, Delaware, in the early 1950s on Lancaster and Scott Street. It was called Pizza Romano. He had 3 daughters. Each of them kind of had their own pizza shops too over the years. My one aunt, Sia Donata, had Gerardo's Pizza on 2nd and Union, where my mom worked and I worked as well. All my cousins worked there. So I grew up with pizza. I grew up eating pizza. My mother, when the night was over around 11 o'clock, she'd come home. She brought the slices they didn't sell. She brought them home. To this day, at 11 o'clock at night, I get hungry. All right, I blame her. Because I used to eat pizza at night. When I'd come home, there was always some leftovers. Now I still get peckish around 11 o'clock. And a pizza certainly takes care of that, trust me. So I know pizza. I like to say that I know what I'm talking about here. But I always like to hear from everybody. We all have our favorites. Comment. Let me know the pizzas you grew up with, the places you go. I tend to stay away from the chains. Okay, I've never gotten to Domino's. I've been in Pizza Hut once or twice in my life because I was with other people. But I tend to stay away from the chains. I gravitate to the small mom and pop neighborhood place like Dom's here. Great New York style pizza, nice and thin. In Delaware, we also have something called tomato pie. That's pizza with no cheese. Okay, and it might be in some other places too. So you imagine usually a square, Sicilian cut, a little bit thick, with tomato sauce, oregano, garlic, no cheese. A lot of people eat it cold, so we call that tomato pie. A little different from regular pizza. This is the slice that I was given tonight. Right, and as you see, it's not a plain. It's not what I would normally order. They call it the twisted cheesesteak. So you got cheesesteak, peppers, onions, mozzarella, and some cheddar cheese. Nice and thin. Nice. It's a nice New York, Philly, nice kind of thin triangle slice. What I normally do with my pizza is I put a finger right in the middle, put two fingers underneath, and I break the back. Right? I break the back. And I fold it up like this, and then I go to town. All right? That's how I eat a pizza. You got to break the back. I also noticed a little bit of crust. When I was teaching years ago, I noticed the kids that when they have pizza for lunch in the cafeteria, they would dip the crust in ranch dressing. And I remember thinking, that's odd. You know what? It's delicious. So if you never tried that, go ahead, give that a whirl. You dip the crust in ranch. So you fold it over like this. You almost make like a taco, and you go to town. You got to be careful. You get a little bit of drip. If you go to a place, this place is good, but you go to some places they use a cheap cheese, and you'll get a lot of the oil from the cheap cheese, and that's where it comes down, and then you got a problem on your shirt. This I don't have problems like that here at Dom's. So you fold it over. You eat it like this. Okay, so I'm going to dig in here in a few seconds. I just wanted to say hello again to everybody. Thank you for watching the big pizza show on location at Dom's Pizza in New York, the Newport, Dom's New York style pizza. Let me know. Let me know your favorite pizzas. Let me know where you used to go. Let me know what you like, thin, thick. Talk to me. Let me know what's your pizza thing. Okay? I have a lot of fun doing this. I'll keep going on. Let me know what you think. Take it easy, everybody. It's Friday where I am. Have a good weekend, and ciao. Okay? Take it easy. And now we go off.